Hi, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk. The ice cream truck. I've so been looking forward to this. Yes, this is a film that if you are part of the Killer Flicks community, you will definitely know of, and I would imagine have a very distinct opinion about. It's been some time since anyone's kind of mentioned it, but yeah, during the last Scream stream I was pressured into giving my 2 pennies worth, having not seen it at that point. Yeah, that's precisely what I've gone and done. I've sat down and I've purposefully made the decision to watch this movie. Is it as bad as people say? No, it's not. It's bad. It's a bad film. It's not as bad as people say. I actually think it's got some stuff going for it, which we will get into. But is it well made? Not particularly. Okay, so it's directed by Megan Freels Johnson. She wrote the script as well. This is, dare I say, a passion project of hers. It came from her mind anyway. She's clearly not suited to script writing or even direction for that matter. I mean, I think this film greatly suffers primarily in the script department. The script for this needed a few more passes at it, at least. And the direction from Johnson is very stale indeed. There's some actors in here that don't come across particularly well, and I don't feel like it's their fault. I got the sense from them, particularly the lead actress in this, that actually if they were put into the hands of a director who really knows what they're doing, really knows how to get performances from actors, they'd be able to do something. I'm not saying they're like Meryl Streep level material or anything, but I think they would be very competent actors. And I've looked at the CVs of some of the actors in this, and they have done some work, and professional stuff, things that would be quite respectable to have on your CV. So yeah, these aren't people that she's just found in the local paper. So yeah, I think I don't want this video to just be an attack on Megan Freels Johnson, but I do think the blame lays squarely with her. It's her script, she directed it. The pacing, and I hate to pull that word out of the hat because it's something that gets bandied about by YouTube movie reviewers all the time. Pacing issues. I hate when people use that term, pacing issues, but don't actually say why it has pacing issues. Let me tell you why it has pacing issues, right? This film is an hour and a half long. It could have been 70 minutes easily. There are so many scenes throughout this film. Here's a plus. I thought there would be more scenes in this film that just didn't need to be there. Could have been taken out. And for a lot of the time, that isn't the case. It's not that the scenes need to be taken out. It's not that they're pointless, that they don't, they don't adhere to Sid Field's rules of screenwriting, advancing the story forward or revealing things about character. The problem with them is that they're dragged out. Literally every scene is dragged out much longer than it needs to be. Like, just an example off the top of my head, when the main character Mary, she goes to this party across the way, around to her neighbours, and she has a conversation with this lad and his girlfriend. They kind of go out and smoke a joint, and then his dad, the boy's dad, comes out and shouts for him, and then he comes running over, and then the two of them stand there and have this real stale conversation, which doesn't need to be had, because we don't need to see him giving an excuse to his dad about where he's been. He just runs over, hey dad, throw their arms around each other and walk into the backyard where this party is taking place. But he runs there, they stop, they have this really stale dialogue that kind of comes out slow, like really slow, like just, hey, here's a question. here's an answer. Oh, right, okay. And it's like that for so many scenes. And like I say, it's not that the scenes just shouldn't be there. The pace just needs tightening up big time. The cinematography is, I would say, competent for this level of movie. I don't think this had a particularly big budget. I've been on films that have been made for under €50,000, and that's what this feels like to me. And for what they get, for what they do with it, with that kind of budget, if indeed that is the kind of money that was spent on it, I'd say it was respectable. I don't think it's clearly not a big Hollywood movie. They're not throwing money about everywhere, just lashing it about. So with that in mind, I think it's respectable what they've done with the camera. However, I will say that there are times when a little bit more inspiration could have been used in set design. Like there's one scene when the ice cream truck man, he does his business in this house with this couple, and then he does his business in the toilet. He goes to the toilet. I know CP and Emily have really laid into this sequence because it drags on. We don't need to see him go to the toilet, have a pee, wash his hands and come back. But when we're looking down that corridor, I'm struck by how plain the set dressing is. There's nothing on the walls, nothing. This is someone's house. There's no family pictures on the wall. There's no, not even a cross or, just some kind of decoration in the hallway. And it just makes it look a little bit student film-esque. Like no kind of production design, no production value has gone into that production design. And it's just, it's too plain, it's too boring, it just makes the shot look stale. There are some good things about the film, as I say, and I may need to get into spoilers in order to talk about those. So if you don't want the ice cream truck spoiling, move along. But I do get the sense here that Johnson is trying for something. She's trying to make a statement about something, about modern woman and suburbia, and this idea that this woman is getting old. She's not even really middle-aged yet. But, she's had kids young. She's grown up. She's feeling nostalgic about her youth, or she's looking at the mirror and seeing lines under her eyes. Again, another scene that goes on far longer than it needs to be. But yeah, she's feeling her age. So when this younger kid, this 18-year-old, comes along and shows interest, she's torn between this, she's a married woman at the end of the day with kids. So she's torn between that. Do I go there? Do I cross that line and have an affair for the sake of indulging in these feelings that I'm feeling? And so I get that. That's a very real thing that I think a lot of women and men would have to deal with. Some young thing comes along and makes them feel young again, makes them feel special. And the film is really about putting those feelings aside, and doing the right thing, standing by your partner, the one you said your vows to, and this, that and the other, not ruining your kid's life by making a really stupid decision. And we see her make that stupid decision, but when we get to the end, big spoiler, Dallas moment, it's all a dream. And I feel like in that moment you could be like, oh, what a cop-out, what a load of nonsense. But actually, from a story sense, from the story that Johnson is trying to tell, it does make sense. She wants her character to be likeable. She wants her to be redeemed at the end. And we see that the film is actually a play on her inner thoughts, how she's wrestling with these ideas, with these temptations. And she imagines doing the deed, so to speak, and then this ice cream truck man, this figure of horror kind of becomes her subconscious dealing with that, kind of killing those that might lead her to temptation, and in some cases in her head killing those that get in the way of her temptation. So when this ice cream man kills the girlfriend of this guy, that's kind of her subconscious there trying to remove that woman out of the equation. So, you know, these things are there. I think that is what Johnson's going for, and the fact that I can see them, the fact that I can pull them out, I guess counts for something. Whether she does them in the right way, in a good way, is for you, the viewer, to decide. I personally don't think she does, primarily because her writing is really stale and she doesn't quite know how to get the best out of her actors, and the pacing, primarily as a result of the writing and the direction, is really nasty. I think whoever edited this should have fought really in the editing room to really quicken things up, to cut where they could, but hey, you can only work with what you've got, and I don't see any Oscar winning editors working on a film like this anytime soon. So yeah, that's it really. It's a respectable film in many ways. I can respect the passion that's got into it, the desire to make something of value at a really low level, you know, with very limited resources, but they just don't quite pull it off. So I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. I like I say, I don't think this is as bad as a lot of people make out. I can see why people think that, but I think when you examine everything closely and really think what they're working with, this, that and the other, weigh things up, you know what, it's not a good film, but it's not a terrible film either. It's, you know, it's not Sausage Party. It's not something where they have all the resources they could ever want at their disposal and yet they still cock it up. No, this is, you know, limited resources, but at the end of the day, yeah, bad writing and bad direction just really let it down. So 2.5 out of 5 from me. That's my thoughts on the ice cream truck. I've been, trying to get that out of the way for so long, but yeah, CP, you can stop asking now. Thank you. If you've seen the ice cream truck, what did you think about it? Like Lee, did you love it? Did you think it was better than Baby Driver? Or like CP, did you absolutely just hate it and think it was beyond redemption? Give me your thoughts down below, let me know, and until next time, crack in.